I'd like to call to order the regular Township of Oxford Planning Commission meeting of January 11th, 2024. If we'd all rise and face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So now we have respects to the flag, and I guess Susan, you're going to note the roll because we do have a couple absent.
Yes, noted Mr. Bailey and Mr. Volosik are excused.
Thank you. We need a motion for approval of the agenda for this evening.
I'll move to approve the minutes for the planning commission regular meeting of
Well,
December
wait a
14th.
minute, I said for the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just, yeah, first.
I went down too far. My bad.
That's okay.
Jumping ahead. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for today, January 11th, 2024.
Second.
We have, was that you, Mr. Knoll?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion to approve the agenda from Mr. Spill, seconded by Mr. Knoll. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
You did say aye?
I did say aye.
Yeah.
Sure.
Aye.
I don't think we have any conflicts with anything this evening that I know about on here. Now we need a motion for the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the planning commission regular meeting of December 14th, 2023.
I'll second.
That was Mr. Ballard?
Yes.
Okay, motion by Mr. Spill, seconded by Mr. Ballard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak on any issues this evening that are not on our agenda? That was a no, I think. Are there any commissioners' comments before we get moving into this?
Happy 2024.
Oh, yeah,
Looking forward to it.
me too.
Hope it's better than 2023.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to speak on behalf of the survey for our master plan. If anybody has not taken the survey, there is a survey out there for our steering committee. It will conclude on the 31st of January, I believe, unless the steering committee extends it. There should be some paperwork in the back to help those that don't have a way to get on the internet for the survey, and for the public to step up and take advantage of the survey to help us work on our master plan for the township.
And I hope they do. I went on and took it, just because it takes a few minutes to kind of flow through the whole thing.
Yep.
So it wasn't like 2 or 3, 4 minutes. It takes a little longer than that. But you got to look at the questions, and then you have a tough time trying to figure out how you want to answer some of them too. Like what you really feel like, what would you want to see in the future in certain places or a part of the township. So, and then you get a little thank you thing and all that stuff at the end that you took it and all that stuff. So, yeah, I hope people are going to take advantage of it if they haven't had a chance. It's easy to just go on it.
Do we have a number of how many people have taken it so far?
Oh, I can give you that.
At the last steering committee, I think it was 209. Do you have any new numbers, Mateo?
I thought that we were at the ballpark I had was 250.
That's good.
That's good.
We had a steering committee on Monday,
1%.
Tuesday night. We're looking to get 1,000 is what we started for.
Yeah.
We're refocusing some of our attention to make sure that we cover some areas of the township that may not have the capabilities of knowing about it, and that was the topic of the steering committee on Tuesday night.
Okay, thank you.
There was quite an article in this week's Oxford
Yes.
Leader about that.
We're using the leader, and the leader had an excellent article to discuss it and encourage people to participate. But as many as we get to participate helps direct some of the thoughts and the comments and the ideas of the community.
A question, John, maybe you know, but can more than one person go on and take the survey from the same computer in the same house?
Oh yeah, I would think so. You're putting in your own email address.
Yeah, but what if you share an email address?
Oh, if you share it? No, I don't think it'd let you take it twice.
IP address. I don't know.
I mean, the software that we use to put the master plan out and solicit feedback from does have several mechanisms in place to ensure that someone is only taking it once. I'm sure someone with enough gumption and IT know-how is there ways around that, but I don't think it's by any great margin. Was that the intent of your question? Would there be an ability for someone to take it twice?
Well, I got to thinking about it. I took it this morning at home on my computer, on my home computer. And I was encouraging my wife to do it.
Hmm.
And if she did it, typically, we do have a second email address that we could put in. But normally, we use the same email address. And I got to thinking, you know,
It might
could
not
we
let
do
you.
that, or would it not let us do that?
It's probably doing it so multiple people couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it is set up to recognize either through IP address or an email address, names that, you know, I couldn't speak to all of the fancy elements that are at work to prevent that from happening, but it is set up to do so.
Okay.
Did that help?
Well,
Just try to see what happens.
We'll just try it.
Yeah.
We'll try it with the other email address and see if that works.
Are there any other comments from commissioners? I'd like to say it's good to see you here, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We don't have any public hearing items that I know of, and unfinished business, we don't have anything. New business, we have to have election of officers. So we are ready to do that.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Corey Bailey to serve as chair of this planning committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Are we gonna do them individually, sir?
Okay. Well, yeah, we have to.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second.
Mr. Bailey has indicated that he would accept it
Yes, he
by
has.
email.
Yes, he has. Thank you for that comment, too.
Mhm.
We can just do a yay and nay on this, can't we?
Well, what you should do is ask for more nominations. If there
Or we're
are
supposed to
no,
ask for more from the board.
if there are none, then he will serve as chair by unanimous consent.
No, okay. Are there any other nominations for the chair, other than Mr. Bailey? I'll ask him one more time, are there any other nominations for chair for 2024? Seeing none, then we would have a unanimous vote, right?
Yes.
Automatically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'd like to then make a motion to have Michael Spiz be the vice chair to the 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second that with a question.
Yes, John?
What's the duration of time being the chair and
Well,
vice chair?
I felt that all these positions right now should be for 1 year. And then if there's any discrepancies, you see, we have a gentleman that's on the Planning Commission.
Are you allowed to?
No, the bylaws say anything.
I'm sure your bylaws address that it is a 1 year,
An annual.
because you have to,
Yeah, 'cause we have to re-elect
do it
every
every
year.
January.
But because we don't have, and for other reasons, not just for these positions here, but for some committee meetings, the new gentleman that's on, Don, he has to be here a year before he can be on a committee.
Correct.
So he's not even eligible, and then and Ed being gone right now, kind of put us in a little different pickle to fill some other voids. But we already had some conversation earlier. So that's my motion to put Mr. Biz as vice chair on the planning commission.
So every year you have a new chair and a new.
Yeah,
You could.
You could.
you can keep the same, but you can obviously make a motion for a new.
Because you've been chair for how long?
Enough. So do I have any other nominations for vice chair?
Does Mr. Spiz accept it?
Oh, Mr.
Mr. Spiz does accept.
Thank you, Susan. Do I have any other nominations for a vice chair? One more time, do I have any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, then Commissioner Spiz is now vice chair for 2024 by unanimous consent.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Tom Berger as secretary for the 2024 planning commission.
Second.
Mr. Spiz, you're now running the meeting.
Take that right there and I'll
Alright.
pass that over.
Are there any other nominations for secretary? Seeing none, Mr. Berger will serve as secretary for 2024 by unanimous consent. Congratulations, everyone.
Okay, we have new chair, we have new vice chair and new secretary. Thank you, guys.
With that, we'll move on to the next item, which is appointment of
Yes, it is. But
committee appointments. So with
you and
that,
you and I had a discussion about this.
yes, we did. As
Mr.
acting chair,
Mr. Spiz, I checked with your planning and zoning coordinator. She said, go ahead and do it, and then at the next meeting, she'll put on the agenda for Mr. Bailey to confirm them.
okay, perfect.
Well, that was a good way of doing
Yeah, so
that.
as acting chair, I'd like, for the ordinance review committee of the planning commission, I'd like to appoint Mr. John Nold, Mr. Robert Turner, and Mr. Corey Bailey, and Mr. Justin Ballard will be the alternate.
Well, I have a question there. So
Okay,
you
we'll
want-
skip that one for now. For the gravel inspection committee of the planning commission, I'd like to appoint John Nold and Mr. Tom Berger. With that, next one is the zoning board of appeals.
Correct. Now,
Open that for
Mr.
discussion.
Yes, Mr. Bailey has been on the zoning board of appeals, but he cannot be the chair on this commission, and be on the zoning board of appeals, if I think I'm correct. So I didn't want to appoint that position until we knew the actual rules from ZBA.
You better check, because he's chairman of the ZBA.
And that's what I'm trying to point out. He's chair of the ZBA and he can't hold them both.
I don't know. It depends on what your bylaws, what the ZBA bylaws
All right,
are and your
so with that,
bylaws.
let's keep that one open and table it.
Postpone
Yeah, can I entertain it? I'll postpone it to the next meeting and we'll have that discussion and determine what can and can't be
Thank you.
done. Right. So with that, I believe that's all the open appointments at this time.
So next is.
Are you going to not do anything with the economic development?
Well, that's a good question, because we do not believe that an economic development committee is any longer needed.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to make a motion or we need to request from the township board to consider removing that as an open committee for the planning commission. Because I believe it was created through the township board back in the day. That was a long time ago.
And I did talk to Mr. London, I talked to Cheryl and some others there, so talking, because right now when they have pre-application meetings with people that come in, and Mr. Curtis is involved in that meeting also, and they are kind of handling all the and also the planner, excuse me, sits in on that meeting when they have a pre-application meeting for someone trying to propose a development within the community. And that really is the economic development group right now, the way it's been operating.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
What
sir.
did we do for 2023?
For
We didn't really meet at all.
they didn't have a meeting.
Did we appoint people?
We did.
We did appoint people, but they never met.
No.
As a moot.
I think maybe we should research it and come back at the next.
I would
Yeah,
agree with that.
that's what I'd like to do, but I also want to make sure with Mr. Bailey as chair of ZBA and chair of planning commission, he can't fill that void.
Yeah, we'll have that discussion for the next meeting,
Okay.
but I'd also, my proposal would be, and I'll talk about this with Chair Bailey too, is to make a motion at the next meeting to request the township board that they dissolve that committee for the planning commission. 'Cause I believe it was created by the township board back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, because I was on it. So with that, yeah. I don't think there's any other committee appointments, so next we'll move on to item 11C, which is the ORC priority list for 2024. So, Mateo, I'm gonna hand it over to you. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So for tonight, as it relates to the ORC, I know the ORC had a fun-filled 2023, and accordingly so, we wanted to put together a list of priorities for the ORC to review in 2024. So what you have in your packet tonight, and as I'm scrolling through to it now, is that list put together by by Carlisle Wortman Associates in conjunction with the ORC, kind of outlining different groups of ordinances that the ORC is planning to review in 2024, and the groups are listed by priority. So group 1 is the highest and most likely for 2024. Group 2 is kind of the second tier and possible for 2024. Group 3 is kind of is tertiary and could get punted to 2025. So really tonight it's to field any questions that the board might have regarding that, and at the end of Q&A, we would just be looking for a vote from the Plan Commission to recommend this priority list to the Township Board for approval.
Any questions on the priority list?
I think it's a good list, and when you look at what's presented in the way he has them, like from where it says group 1 and then it goes into group 2 and group 3 and et cetera, they're broken down quite nicely to let you know how we've tried to determine what we should have as a priority list. Because we started working on it a while back.
Yeah.
And I think John has been heavily involved in it, myself, and actually Ed was too, he's just not here.
All right, any other questions at this one?
I just have an ORC comment. We
Please.
discussed the sign standalone ordinance last night at the Township Board meeting. It was well received. It was acknowledged it took many years to get that to where it is today.
Good to hear, good to hear.
Yeah.
I guess my only question would be, knowing the Township Board, is there a cost factor that goes with this?
So outlined in the document itself has some anticipated time associated with the drafting and whatnot. So I would, without getting too far ahead of myself, I would assume that our billable rate against those hours would kind of be your approximation for cost.
Trustee Noel, I'm assuming that it will be part of the
It's
discussion.
been, in the past,
Yeah.
Carlisle Workman has given us a estimate of time. That would probably be good, but their contract was different this year than last, so I guess I'd have to roll my shirt sleeves up and look into it.
Okay,
See how that
thank
can
you.
be done. But
That's a Township Board decision, I'm just,
Correct.
something I would recommend that is included in that discussion.
Thank you.
If this body so chooses to recommend this list to the Township Board. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to make a recommendation to the Township Board for the proposed priority list, a recommendation of approval for the proposed priority list.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Berger, supported by Noel. Any further discussion on the matter?
No, I was involved in
Involved?
some of the.
All right, all in
so-
favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll get you back to the agenda here.
That's the end of my career, so.
Oh.
With that, we'll move on to item 12, which is communications and/or committee reports. Nothing from economic development, I don't believe, because there's nobody met,
0.
right? And anything from the ORC, since what we just talked about, anything different from the ORC?
No.
Nope, seeing none. We'll move on to item 13, planner engineering reports. Taylor, anything else to report from the planning side?
Yeah, so just for us, just a quick update on some of the master plan stuff. We've discussed that the survey's out. We're working with the steering committee and other means to continue to kind of publicize that and get as big of a turnout as we can. The steering committee has been meeting on schedule. I have not been able to have a conflict those evenings, so Megan's runs those, so I can't speak to it, but it sounds like they are going well and on track.
Very well.
And we are, I believe the steering committee is working towards, Mr. Knoll and I were speaking, a community event in March that again will fall under heavy marketing and publicity to kind of turn out the public to answer questions, kind of have some visuals, get folks involved with the master plan process and kind of an update as to where we go from there.
Do you have a location chosen for that?
We are seeking out the Legacy Center. That has not been firmed up. We have 2 dates. We have a date that we'd like and an alternate, and that's in process now. We'll see how we can make that happen.
All right. Anything else, Mateo?
That's all for me.
Awesome, thank you very much. Mr. Sharp is not in attendance, so no engineering report unless one's been submitted by handwriting, which I haven't seen, I don't think so. But with that, we'll move on to item 14, which is adjournment, and call us adjourned at 7:17.
That's pretty good, thank you.